Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Complete Sports Media's podcast. I'm your host, Darren Campbell, and you know the guy to my right. I guess maybe you're left on the screen, but Jason Cameron joining us after a very long day this guy's had, probably longer than anybody watching, anybody listening. I bet you he's got us beat. Tell everyone what time you had to wake up, what time you had to start work today.
So I woke up at because I usually like to wake up an hour and a half before work.
Okay.
So I woke up at 2:30 and I was out the house at 3:15 and was started work at 4 in the morning.
Oh man, that's unreal, eh? Wow.
Yeah.
When
I
they told you what your start time was, did you ask them a second and third time? Like, are you sure that you need me at 4 a.m.? Did you ask them again and again?
no, I what I said was, what a start to the week. Can't wait. I'll see you in the morning.
Crazy. Wow. We're pretty close to where you're headed to. It's only a few kilometers away, Steveston,
Yeah.
heading down there. This morning was freaking cold. It must have been pretty brutal out there at that time of the morning.
All right. Like there's cold that's like on the mainland, right? And then there's cold that when you're close to the water or on the water. I was so incredibly happy I did not have to stay there. I was so like it was cold, man. It felt like -10 with a wind chill. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm like, oh man, I cannot wait to get the heck out of here. I I felt bad for everybody that had to be there, but luckily, they made sure that they had plenty of bodies to do the work. I think I counted at least possibly 10 to 12 dressers.
Wow.
So they had more than enough bodies to get the job done for sure.
Yeah, I actually saw yesterday I was in Canadian Tire and I saw that it was -11 as a low yesterday, and so I was like, wow, and I was quite shocked. I was like, really, is it got that low? And I think I was talking to my dad and he said, well, was that with the wind chill factor? And
Uh,
maybe, but
yeah,
usually they don't really put that when they just put a temperature up on a TV screen, um
yeah,
but yeah, I felt super cold. We were up in Menotti Bay the last a bit last week, and it was really super cold up there. I was pretty shocked at how much snow dumped over the weekend up there.
yeah,
We were there Friday and back there today, and there was a lot of snow. You could see it all up and down the mountains. You could see it all over the side of the road, and it covered quite a bit of the set. It was yeah, it was pretty surprising, and I was surprised how much snow was in Burnaby and New West and stuff as well.
yeah,
I did not really see that. I spent the time in Richmond and we got a bit of hail, but
yeah,
this was quite a bit of snow up there in the high points.
yeah, definitely. Like where I live, no snow whatsoever. But this morning, once I started driving into the Burnaby area, I was just like, oh man, it kind of came down a little bit
Yeah.
in these areas. So yeah, I was surprised. I was
Yeah, me
surprised.
too. Very surprised. So I guess you had to go to bed quite early on Sunday, so you probably didn't have that great of an evening. But tell me about your weekend. What else did you get up to?
The weekend was, you know what? It was pretty relaxed. It was
Yeah.
pretty chill, man. Like I intentionally had it that way because I was
Nice.
just like, you know what? I just want to chill out. I just want to relax. I don't want to do too much of anything. So I started watching this show that a friend turned me on to called 30 Coins.
Okay.
And it's a different show. It's off HBO Max. And it's a show about Judas Iscariot and the 30 pieces of silver he was paid to betray Jesus, and it
Oh,
goes from
oh,
it.
interesting. What?
It's a cool TV show. Very scary, very a lot of horror stuff. I find it hard to watch at night.
Yeah.
That's how I know it's good.
Was it what streaming service is that one on?
HBO Max.
HBO Max. Okay.
Yeah.
I did get to watch the first episode of Shogun. Have you seen any of it yet?
Oh no, I have not. And what did you think? Oh, first off, let me ask you this: how'd the sets look?
Amazing. Yeah, incredible.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, it's
like
spectacular. Spectacular. Yeah, some of the coolest sets for sure. When they're entering in the village, they're going to certain I think they're in a two or three different villages, and wow, it's just shockingly amazing. Yeah. Yeah.
I read an article about Shogun, and the producer and the directors were just over the moon about the work that we did for that show. They
Nice.
were over the they were extremely complimentary to the crew.
That's
And
great.
then from what I've heard from other people like yourself who've worked on that show, like basically like you know Kevin Casper, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he was like, we had the best of the best fabricators on that show.
Yeah.
The best of the best. Like we had the best of the best of people in every department for that show.
Amazing.
And
Yeah.
so I was like, you know what? It shows. All
Yeah.
I had to see was the trailer for 2 3 minutes. I was just like, oh man,
Yeah.
okay, that's special. That's
Yeah.
special.
Yeah, shows like that, shows like The Last of Us that we're on, Percy Jackson, some of the shows that I've been a part of, it just ups our game, and it just
Yep.
starts making people realize that, you can do anything here in the Lower Mainland, and
Yep.
we've got the elite talent to pull it off, and it's just going to be able to bring bigger and bigger and bigger shows. I think The Last of Us, from what I've heard, is the biggest show on the planet right now. And so, we've
Okay.
already been able to attract, shows like this. And Shogun, yeah, the first episode is amazing. There's only two episodes. I don't know how often they're doing it. Maybe it's just one a week or something, but
Yeah.
only two episodes to watch there. The first one was like an hour and 10, second one's about an hour. And yeah, so it's going to take a while to see it all the way throughout, but so far, yeah, just super impressed and blown away. I absolutely loved it so far.
Okay. Well, I guess that's another show for me to watch at some point in time.
Yeah.
Definitely gonna check it out.
On Friday, I was dead tired. I went to watch some hockey. I went and watched Langley play a game. They ended up having a tie on Friday night.
Yep.
They had a 3-0 shutout win on Saturday night, and then I went again on Sunday and watched them win 3-1 last night. They won the league championship, and they were able to advance to the provincials. So they took it's the U15 Tier 1 Pacific Coast Amateur Hockey Association League Championship. Very cool. I'll post some pictures on the website. It's a yard sale where they throw their gloves and their stick, and everybody just mobs the goalie, and they posed on the ice with their banner, and I got some really good shots. Nathan Rosenberg was right in the front. You'll be able to see him. When I post a picture, I'll send it out. He's sitting in the bottom left corner there, and yeah, they advanced to the provincials. I think that's going to take place in about 2 weeks, something like that. So I'll make some announcements when that happens. But great to see. They played Burnaby last night, and Burnaby was the #1 team in the league during the regular season and had beat Langley a few times. So they ended up knocking off the #1 seed in the end. It was #1 against #2 seed, and they got the victory. It was really fun, and the kids just looked like they were having an absolute ball with the victory.
That is awesome. That's awesome that your guys' team won. But more to the point, it's just great that the kids had fun.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It was great. There was one dad there that was a little bit rough on his kid, and I hadn't seen a mean hockey dad in a while, but he was sitting next to me in the first period, and he was just flipping out on his kid, calling him stupid and saying a lot of really brutal things. And I was like, whoa, man, this guy's getting rough. And then he took off in the last two periods, and he watched it by himself behind glass. and so you couldn't hear him. He was sort of in the loungy area, and so I was like, "Oh, this is good. I'm sure the kids really enjoying not being yelled at and called stupid and stuff." But I hadn't seen a bad hockey dad in a few years, and this guy wasn't very good to listen to. It was kind of rough.
It sounds like, because I heard a little bit of this. It sounds like he was like Jalen Brunson's dad, Rick Brunson, because Jalen Brunson has this great story where he's like, all of a sudden I hear this guy saying, suck, and I look over, oh, it's my dad.
Hilarious. Wow. Great. Hey, thanks, Dad.
Oh yeah, that's what you call tough love. You know, that's how I got better.
I remember the Ball brothers, their dad was pretty brutal, and they did a Nike ad with him, and he was supposedly one of those legendary brutal dads that you just would hear him yell out, "You suck, what are you doing, kid?" And yeah. And yeah, he was hell determined to get his kids into the league. But yeah, I don't know, man. It was pretty weird to just constantly look over at the guy and just hear him just berate his kid and yell obscenities towards the ice. It was pretty nuts.
You know, here's the funny thing. That kid, amazingly enough, has still not lost his passion for the game.
Yeah.
Where he's just like, no, unfortunately, I got to deal with my father, but yes, I still like hockey.
Yeah, thankfully, yeah. Good for him. Yeah, I'm glad. Yeah, the kid. I thought the kid played pretty well, but anyway, his dad wasn't enjoying it, so I'm glad he went and sat somewhere else where we couldn't hear him yelling. That was a lot better. Maybe he did that. He did that on purpose, so he wouldn't be looked at by everybody going, "What the hell, man?" But yeah, it was fun. As I said, I will make some announcements on the website and on YouTube about where they go from here. The provincials are being held on the North Shore, and there's I guess 3 lower mainland teams will represent. There'll be a team from the island, some from the interior, different regions, and yeah, it should be phenomenal. I can't wait for it. It'll be super fun, and hopefully Langley can keep it going. Yeah, great season and amazing playoff run so far. The other thing I did on the weekend was took in the Whitecaps season opener, the home opener down at BC Place. Largest crowd ever for a season opener, and this is their 50th anniversary season. So pretty impressive that this is the biggest crowd they ever got for a home opener.
They've been around for 50 years? I didn't know that. Yeah. I actually didn't know that. I had no idea that they've been around for that long. So that's actually pretty cool that they were honored with the fans coming out in support of the team for their 50th. Yeah.
The thing that really bugged me though was the game was brutal. It was bad. It was just snooze fest. They just crapped the bed. They played terrible. So did Charlotte. There was not much excitement at all. Thankfully, I was sitting in the South Sider section, the supporter section. Have you sat there before?
I have never sat there before, but man, it looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It looks like fun.
If I was sitting in any of the other spots, I would have fallen asleep for sure. I wouldn't have, been able to keep awake. South side, you can't sit. So we stood the whole game. Tons of chanting, waving flags, holding up your scarves. Great fun. It made it good, except it is kind of hard to stand for a couple hours like that.
Yes.
I actually felt my back bit hurt. I was like, Jesus Christ, like, I wouldn't mind sitting down a little bit here, but no, you couldn't do it. So, there's a trade-off, I guess, and enjoy the excitement. But yeah, standing that whole length of time, I don't recommend it for people my age or older.
No, I agree with you on that. It's like as we get older, it's more like, where's a chair? I need a chair. Sit down. Yeah. My knees can't handle it anymore.
Yeah. The soccer is weird. It is to me, it's the greatest game in the world, but it also can be the worst game in the world.
Yeah.
There was 30,000 fans there, and they got to cheer like twice, in 2 hours. You go there and you're sitting in a regular seat all around and you get two chances to cheer in
Yeah.
2 hours. Like, to me, that's not enough. And, there's the excitement level is pretty bad. During the World Cup, I absolutely love the World Cup, and it's called the beautiful game. Every country in the world plays it, and
Yeah.
it's spectacular at the highest level. But
Yes.
when it's, down in a little bit of a tier or two below, and a team just is flat and they're not pressing the issue, there just wasn't a ton of things to watch. I was pretty blown away at how boring it ended up being. And that sucks because a lot of those people that don't have season tickets might not say, I'll go back. They have the highest season ticket base in a long time, so they're going to get fans. But I don't think a lot of those people are just clamoring to go back next week after kind of a pretty boring game.
If you don't mind, what was the final score of the game? Was it 0-0?
Yeah, it
0-0?
finished 1-1, which ties suck in my opinion too.
Yeah.
Vancouver was super lucky to score a goal in stoppage time in the first half. I don't even know what the hell happened, but the goalie looked like he kind of stumbled and then
With?
just froze or something, and so they kind of gave him a gift to score. And then the goal that was scored by Charlotte, there was the guy that scored it was, I'd say, at least a head taller than anybody else on the field. And so it was just kind of easy for him to jump up, put it in the net and score. Yeah. And so, yeah, it was pretty shocking how, we spent our hard earned money. It was, quite a bit of money that day. And, to my chagrin, I just really wasn't totally impressed. And it's too bad because they had an opportunity to really knock everybody's socks off and keep the crowd rolling in throughout the
Yeah.
rest of the year. I think the attendance is going to go down until we see Messi, and then we'll see from here. But yeah, bit of a bummer.
That's too bad that the game turned out to be like a glorified men's league. So that kind of sucks.
Yeah,
Never good. Never good.
no, there was there was 17 shots towards the net, 10-7 for the Whitecaps. Only 6 were actually on target for Vancouver and 5 for Charlotte. So, I guess it's just, wow, it's just stunning. And I played soccer for a long time. I loved the sport when I played it. I do love watching the World Cup, and I do love watching some, top level teams, but I don't know. I just really think the MLS and Vancouver, especially, they really have to be aware that we're North Americans who want to be able to go places and cheer and have exciting things happen. And I think I would just press the issue. I would be trying to score goals like crazy. A win is nice, a tie is okay, but Jesus, that really wasn't a great day out, night out, and I don't think I'll be going back for a bit. It's too bad.
Yeah, I get what you're saying because it's kind of like the same thing with hockey. You want to see an exciting brand of hockey as opposed to what the Minnesota Wild did for years, which was trap hockey, which just it sucked the enjoyment out of hockey.
Yeah,
That's what they were really good at. Where I'm like, that's a talent. They have a talent. They sucked the joy right out of the game. That was awesome. Thank you so much, Minnesota Wild. So
yeah.
let's not do that with soccer.
New Jersey Devils back in the day won a couple cups by just being super defensive, and it really killed the NHL for a few years there, where it was super boring to watch, and
Yeah.
you know, a lot of copycat teams tried to emulate the style because that's what took it to win the championship. And you know, yeah, this is entertainment. You know, people got money. They
Yeah.
got a lot of choice, especially in a city like Vancouver. You got a lot of choices of things to do on a Saturday night, and you know, the hard-earned money, it's costly here, and you know, didn't feel like I got my money's worth.
Yeah. You know what? And especially here in Vancouver,
Yeah,
our hard-earned money is really hard to earn.
yeah,
And we when we spend it, we want to spend it on something good. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah,
And when we don't, it's just like, oh man, oh that sucks. I don't know about spending another 100 on this. You know what I mean? Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It was yeah. Anyway, I'll move on, but there was another controversy in MLS over the weekend. They had a game in Utah, and they played in a absolute blizzard. It was unbelievable that they even played the game. I don't I have never seen a soccer game played in snow it was that deep. It was insane. There's a lot of people just up in arms about it, that they didn't just cancel the game, postpone it for a day here, a week there, wherever. It was insane. You got to see the pictures of this, Jason. It was insane. It was a absolute full-on blizzard. You could barely, with the cameras on the side of the field, you could barely see the players. You could barely see the action. I don't even I don't even know if very many fans would have stuck around for it or even went. Like, it was just insane, and I'm shocked that they even played the game.
What was the final score?
I don't even. I
What
don't even know. I
was an
don't even know.
amazing game though. Like how high was the snow? Like was it like a foot and a half up?
Yeah.
Like on the
By the end of by the end, it was like piled up this much on the field. It was insane. It was unreal.
they should have called the damn game.
Yeah.
They should have called the game. They should never have actually played the game.
No.
Hopefully in the future they've learned from this because they found out, oh, no fans were even in the stands. So like why did we even hold
Why
the
did we
game?
even play this? Yeah. Yeah. It was crazy. I guess the best thing about the weekend though was Inter Miami. Lionel Messi was able to get a couple of goals and an assist. Luis Suarez was able to get a couple goals as well, his teammate, and they had a big 5-0 rout. Amazing game. Super impressive. They beat Orlando City. Their Florida rivals, and yeah, just stomped on him. Messi looked great. Suarez looked incredible. Messi has scored 2 goals in many, many games of his career, but he's never had 2 goals this way. He scored one with his head and one with his chest. He put one in off his chest, and in his entire illustrious career, he's never had 2 goals in that fashion in a game. So it was really cool to watch, and Miami's off to a great start, looking fantastic. And you know, I'll watch them a ton. I wish they would play 20 games here. I'd be there every night. But yeah, Vancouver's got to smarten up and get Messi Jr. in here and make it more exciting.
Yeah, no, they do need to make it more exciting, and yeah, well, Miami's lucky. Miami's lucky that they had David Beckham as an owner, and David Beckham's friends with Messi,
Yeah.
and Messi said, you know what, I'll take the money. It's fine. I'll do it.
Yeah, no kidding. That's amazing. What else? What else? Um, they said the parity in this league is insane, and uh, they said through 2 games, not one single team was able to win 2 games outright, to win the first 2 games. So not one team out of 29 had 6 points after 2 games. Not one. So
Wow.
that's pretty insane. It's going to be hard to figure out who's going to be the elite. Miami and possibly the LA Galaxy. LA Galaxy had a really tough game against Miami in that first game of the entire season. It was a 1-1 draw, but then Galaxy went out on the weekend, got a really amazing 3-1 victory over the San Jose Earthquakes, and looked very, 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 very fit and very capable of kicking ass. I was pretty impressed with them. I watched a bunch of that game. And Orlando's looking like they could be probably the worst team in the league. So Miami was able to beat them pretty handily. They are they're only one of two teams that didn't have a goal in their first two games. The other one was New York City FC, which is always supposed to, always up there, attracts a lot of top talent. And for some reason, 0 goals in those first two games. So not a good start for Orlando or New York City FC.
That is concerning, especially for New York, because they're supposed to be one of the top talents in the MLS. So hopefully they can get their act together. And Orlando's just going to get beaten constantly by everybody, especially Miami.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Toronto, the only team in the MLS to not concede a goal this season so far. They finished dead last in that category last year. They gave up 59 goals in the season last year, and they didn't win a single game away from Toronto last season. So good on them. They were able to go to New England and get a 1-0 victory, and looking good out the gate. Nice to see John Herdman, former Canadian national coach, finally the coach of Toronto, and trying to pull them out of a really brutal stretch last couple seasons. And out of the gate with two nice victories.
Well, that's great that Herdman's now the coach, because he's clearly implemented a style of game that emphasizes defense, because not playing defense didn't work.
No, not last year. Yeah, exactly. And Montreal, they're also off to a nice start. They got a nice 2-1 win over Dallas. And so MLS is kicked off. I just really wish that was a better game on Saturday. And well, let's hope that they heard the fans like me, and they'll put on a better product on the pitch. There's a big game, Canada and the US. Women's national teams have a game on Wednesday in the CONCACAF Gold Cup. This is pretty crucial. Always a massive rivalry between Canada and the US with the women's teams. Canada are the defending Olympic champions, and this should be a great game on Wednesday. Can't wait for it. Both teams won their quarterfinal game on the weekend, and highly anticipated game on Wednesday.
Well, hopefully Canada can beat those arrogant American women, because we know how they like to play, and we also know how they like to rub it in other teams' faces.
Yeah.
So hopefully that we beat them, but we beat them modestly, because that's what we do. We're humble.
Very humble. Yeah, that'd be great. That show some class.
Show some class.
Get some victory, but show some class.
Yeah.
Okay, huge news locally here over the weekend with the hockey team. Elias Pettersson was finally inked to an extension. There's been talk about it daily, almost hourly on the local radio stations, television stations, all through the media. Finally, they were able to put pen to paper, get him signed for an 8-year deal. Largest contract in Canucks history, $92.8 million. So it's an 11.6 annual average salary. And that is actually 5th in the NHL currently, which ends up being pretty great for the Canucks that he didn't get the maximum amount, topping everybody else. Gives them the ability to sign some guys around him. And when the salary cap keeps rising, we've been at a flat cap for a while because of COVID and not a lot of revenues coming in around those years. Expected to rise up and rise up. And eventually, in probably about 2-3 years, we're going to have $100 million salary cap. So 11.6% of that is pretty damn good and should be able to keep the core together as well as some good complementary pieces around it. It was hard to put this deal together, I guess, but everybody seems very, very impressed and happy that the Canucks were able to get this done and not at an too outrageous of a number.
No, definitely it's not too outrageous of a number because he's not the highest paid player, but he's in the group of the top 5, top 10. I think that's exactly where he sees himself anyways. So he should be happy. And he's cemented with the Canucks for 8 years. Awesome.
Yeah, it's great news. He gets 141,000 per game when you work it out per game. So that's pretty nice. Pretty nice every game. That's 140,000 is a little more than most households and families make an entire year. So I think he'll be doing all right. This is the list of the highest paid skaters entering this upcoming season. Austin Matthews is top 13.25 million. Nathan McKinnon 12.6. Connor McDavid 12.5. Artemi Panarin 11.642. So 42,000 more than Pettersson. Pettersson's just 100,000 more than Erik Karlsson and William Nylander. So and the core four for the Maple Leafs, it has about 15 million more than the core four for the Canucks. So that's really good. As I said, they should be able to keep a lot of good pieces around these guys and have this Stanley Cup playoff window open a lot longer than some of these other teams that have way too high top end talent, paying too much and can't really get the depth that they need.
Yeah, exactly. Which is smart from the Canucks point of view, smart from their GM, because like finally somebody has smarts up there, using their head, saying, well, we need to kind of build for the future, so we shouldn't just throw all the money at our top end talent. We have to retain something so that we have depth. Smart. Finally, some smart moves.
Yeah. The Canucks have also made some announcements over the past few days. They are spending $150 million to upgrade Rogers Arena and make it a better fan experience for all the fans coming in. Every lower and upper bowl seat are set to be replaced with newly custom designed. They look like leather seats. They will all have a cup holder next to them, and they're a little bit wider. They said that they will have an area that you can go in on level 4, and you can mingle and watch the game. Ability to there are seats, but you can also walk around and mingle with people while you're up in this area. That should be a fun zone to go to. Quite a bit of talk about putting in a lot more TVs in the concourse. So when you're out there getting drinks and food and socializing, you can see a lot of the action and things that are going on inside the arena. It'll just be what's on the big screen in there will be on the screens inside the concourse. A lot of cool stuff like this. And I'm very impressed with the renderings I've seen, artist renderings, and a lot of the things that they say are that they're putting into the building. 150 million is quite a bit of money.
Yeah, well, that's good. That ownership is like, you know what, we're gonna reinvest in the team instead of just taking all the money and running. We're actually gonna do something with this, and that's good. Yeah. That's excellent to see. And on top of that, you said so there's going to be like a mingling area, kind of like Mariners Stadium, where they have that one area that's down by I think it's third plate or whatever. Yeah, it kind of like that. That's awesome. That's fantastic, man. That's a great idea.
Yeah, no, it's really good. Yeah, I like that. I've seen that in a lot of other stadiums and a lot of other sports put those together, and it's fun. I think a lot of younger people prefer doing that instead of just getting stuck in your seat next to two different people. You know, you actually get to cheer, high five, mingle, get to meet people. I think it's going to add a huge amount of fun to the games and yeah, I can't wait to see what they do, and I'll be going to lots of games as always. So what else do I want to say about the Canucks? They are still right up there in the top of the standings. They sit in second place in the overall standings, so still right up there and doing great. They won last night against Anaheim. They play tomorrow night against the Kings. They're going to try to get revenge on the Kings. Kings came in last week and beat them 5-1. This game's down in LA, and hopefully they can turn the tables on them and get a victory there. There was an awesome tribute to Mika Kiprusoff over the weekend in Calgary. He was the fourth Calgary Flame to ever have his number retired by the team. Jerome McGinley, Mike Vernon, and Lanny McDonald are the other three. His number 34 was raised to the rafters. Really great ceremony. And then he was on After Hours with three of his former teammates. And man, the stories were flowing. They were having a ball talking about all the great times that they had with him. And he's just one of those classic great characters. I have had some serious fun with him over the years. I don't know if you ever saw him with me in the Roxy, but we we went there a few times and had some legendary nights. And this is one of the great guys at the game. He was during his 9 years with Calgary, no other goalie won more games in that 9-year stretch. He was able to just take Calgary to incredible heights, and what a phenomenal guy. It was really moving ceremony, and so great to see everybody just celebrating him and how great of a guy he was and how talented of a goalie he was.
Yeah, like celebrating greatness, like not just as a player, but as the man himself as well. And that's awesome because clearly it's pretty hard to get your jersey retired in Calgary. Like if you're up with those three names that you just mentioned,
Yeah,
you made it.
yeah,
You really made it.
exactly. Incredible. Yeah, so good news. That was super fun. After hours, anybody that's watching or listening, we always appreciate you tuning in. On Saturday nights, you should tune in to After Hours. To me, it's the second best television show during the week. The best is Inside the NBA. Phenomenal. They do an amazing job. But After Hours, Scott Russell does an incredible job researching for questions that he wants to ask. He pulls out videos and tributes to the guy. They have just a phenomenal time after Hockey Night in Canada ends. They have the After Hours, and that episode was one of my favorites too, because the stories just kept flowing from these guys. Brought up some hilarious times and things that Kipper had done over the years, and everybody was just having a ball. I could tell.
Oh, that's fantastic. By the way, do you remember who the teammates were that were sharing those yarns and stories with Kiprusoff?
Yeah, Robin Regier, what? Another one of his defensemen.
Oh,
geez.
hold on
Yeah,
a second.
I
Maybe I
should have
should help
wrote it
you.
down, but two of his top defensemen, one of the guys that was around for the longest part of his career, but I can't. No, name escapes me right now. But
Yeah. Well, you got Robin McGear, and that's good enough. And it makes more sense that
oh, Rhett Warner was the other guy, Rhett Warner. But
Brett
I'm
Warner.
trying to think of the one guy. Yeah, I
So,
don't know why I
but it
can't.
was all defensemen. It was all
Yeah,
defensemen. Of course it was.
Yeah.
Because he's just like, no, you guys never came back to help. You forwards, you suck. I just want my defenseman here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And he one of his favorite backup goalies, Jamie Noodles McLennan was there, and he
Yeah.
had some hilarious stories and great speech up on the podium there. And yeah, great amount of guys were there. Jerome McGinley was front and center, and he made mention of him, of course. And he made mention of Lanny McDonald, who's still recovering from his heart attack or heart episode that he had recently, and he wished him speedy recovery and talked about how much of a legend he was. Mike Vernon was there; his numbers in the rafters too, and yeah, it was a who's who of Calgary greats and legends. Yeah, it was a spectacular ceremony and a phenomenal night.
No, and that's fantastic that all those other guys, except for Lanny, because obviously he couldn't be there for reasons that we know, that they were there also to appreciate him and show him the love that he deserves.
Yeah. Kipper was known for partying. This guy is known for partying, and he's just set a record. Evgeny Kuznetsov, who was a longtime Washington Capital, helped him win the Stanley Cup with Ovechkin and those boys a few years back. He is now the highest paid player ever on a farm team. He was waived by the Capitals this week. Nobody claimed him off waivers. He got sent down to the AHL, the Hershey Bears, Hershey, Pennsylvania, where my family lives, really close to, and he's getting $8 million to play for them this season. He became pretty legendary for his partying, but it caught up to him. There was some posts online of him partaking in some things that he shouldn't have, and he had to enter the player assistance program into some rehab. Once he got out, they said it's time to move on and find another destination. And he is now in the minors making $8 million a year. It's a record. Nobody's ever made that kind of money playing in the minors, and it's insane. Yeah, I hope his partying days are a little bit behind him now. He's smartened up, and maybe somebody will take a flyer on him coming up. I don't think he'll play the rest of this year, but possibly next year. And one of the top goal scorers of his generation, but how the mighty have fallen.
Yeah. Well, how old is he? Is he that like is he super old? Like is he in his mid-30s?
He might be now. Yeah, he might be
Yeah.
now, but
Okay, so because like the reason why I asked is like it sounds like he still has something to offer,
yeah.
even if he got caught. You know how many times when people just overlook it? It's like, I'm sure he's learned his lesson. The guy's still a good player, right?
Yeah.
But since nobody took him, it's like, well, how bad is this dude's reputation? Number one.
Yeah.
And number two, like, has he lost it all? Like, is he not really a functional NHL player anymore? Like, I don't know, man. Like, hey, you can party. In this day and age, gotta be smart because everybody got a phone, man.
Yeah.
Everybody got a phone. You gotta be smart, man. You gotta be smart about how you handle your business.
Yeah, big time. Yeah, crazy. Pretty shocking to see how the mighty have fallen like this. And yeah, hopefully that's not the end of him. Hopefully smartens up, and we get to see him resurrect his career next year. I want to make some mention of some NBA things that happened over the weekend. LeBron James, another milestone, 40,000 points. They stopped the game, gave him all the accolades. Should they have? Is it something that he should be recognized for so much? He beat the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's point record earlier, and so are they going to stop the game at 45,000, 42,500, 48,000, 50,000? Like, where does it stop at this? He's already got the record. Don't you just keep it just going and going? What do you think?
Okay, so there was just a bunch of zeros.
Yeah.
So 4 0 0 0 0 0. So they just went, you know what? This is the last time we're gonna do this, LeBron, because I don't know if you're ever gonna retire, right? Like we can't do this at 50 and then 60 and then 70, and you're like fucking, like 65. Like forget it. All right,
Yeah.
we're just gonna do the 40,000, and then we're done. We're
Yeah.
done. And so I think I honestly believe it's like they just said to themselves, we're gonna give him the 4 0 0 0 0 because that's his exclusive club. And let's be honest here, who's gonna beat that?
Right.
Like when he's actually done playing, who the heck is going to beat that?
Yeah. I was
No.
starting to look at some of the numbers on some of the young guys and seeing like could any of these guys actually do it? And I was the names that I came up with were Luka Doncic. He's had his career started when he was 19. He's had 6 years of 1,800 points. He'd have to play 22 seasons into his 41st birthday, averaging these amount. He's not going to average these kind of numbers once he's into his later 30s. So he's going to have to probably play 30 seasons to get that. Jason Tatum, he actually didn't have phenomenal numbers in his first few seasons. It took him a while to sort of become that elite guy. Who else did I put on the list? Anthony Edwards, Ant-Man, Trae Young, Wembanyama. Hard to know how he's going to go. Will he have a long career? LeBron had 20 seasons with 1,500 points at least and more. When you have 20 seasons with 1,500 points, that would take you to 30,000. So he's got another 10,000 over top of that. 20 seasons he's had with that. The next active player is Kevin Durant with 12. So, down and down and down, and unbelievable, impressive. But I just hope that it's one of the last times we see it, stop game, celebrate. He's pushed the record. The record will be 44,200 whatever, and he'll be done. So the only cool thing out of that night I really, really loved was he held up a bit of a piece of paper, placard, whatever it was, and it had 40,000 across it, and it was reminiscent of Wilt Chamberlain when
with the
100 point game. You held that up. It was on the 62nd anniversary of that night.
Oh, what? Great. Almost like he planned it.
Yeah,
right?
maybe.
Almost like he planned it. So that's cool. That's cool. Like that's history right there. I don't know if I sent this to you, but I meant to send it to you. It's from our favorite Instagram people, Riot Comedy. And so it had LeBron in his club of 40,000, and he's like, "Hey, I'm in the club. It's me. It's all me." And then he walks outside, and he's just like, "Hey, what are you guys doing over there?" And it's Michael Jordan and Tom Brady's like, "Goat Club over here, buddy. We're in the Goat Club. I don't know how your 40,000 club is, but this is pretty sweet over here." And then all of a sudden, they go on Patrick Mahomes goes, "You suck, Brady. You beat it. Get out of here."
I love it. Oh my God. You gotta send that to me. Oh my God, that's hilarious.
Yeah, I'll send it to you. But it was those guys nail it.
We're in the Goat Club over here. You're not invited yet, buddy. Sorry.
Yeah, you're sorry. You can't come yet. You can't come. It's so good. So good.
Wow. Incredible. I love those guys. They're hilarious. They do an amazing job, don't they?
Yes, they do. They do. They really nail it, man. Because that these guys are incredibly competitive. And Michael Jordan's just like, they nailed it. Got it right.
That's awesome. So good. Okay, I said Jason Tatum. He turned 27 yesterday. Turned 26 yesterday. He had 27 points in the 52-point beatdown that the Celtics did had over the Golden State Warriors. I watched the pregame, and Bob Myers was on the panel, Stephen A. Anthony Perkins was on there, Kendrick Perkins, sorry, and they were like, this is a showcase of the top two teams in the NBA. The guys that were in the final a couple seasons ago, and this should be a hell of a battle. And it was just a massive blowout. The Celtics are just starting to prove that nobody is really in their class this year. 11th win in a row. That was their third straight 50-point win this year. And they are by far and away just so far ahead of everybody else. I just think putting money down on them is the surest bet in sports history. It looks like you can pretty much hand them the title this year. I don't think anybody's beating them.
They're heads and tails above everybody else. Like they're just better than everybody else. And I'm telling you right now, I think like the key to their success is definitely Porzingis, what he brings to the table, and then the added benefit of bringing Drew Holiday in so that he can now lock up defenders with Derek White. Like they can do any rotation. They can play any way that you want to play. They're just that good, man. Like they are a load to deal with. I thought maybe the 76ers in the East had a chance because Joel Embiid was having one hell of an amazing season.
Yeah.
But now that he's injured, we don't know when he's going to come back, and we don't know how long it's going to take for him to get that MVP form back. Celtics, man, yeah, I think this is most certainly their year. And if they don't win it this year, it'll be a massive disappointment. Massive disappointment.
Yeah, they to me, they're the absolute front runner, and they're just looking incredible. The Warriors did come in winners of 11 of their last 13 when Draymond came back from his suspension. They seemed like they had it together, but not yesterday. Steph was held to 4 points. 4 points. Only played 17 minutes. Did not play a second in the second half. It's ugly when you look at the scores and the entire history of the game. Oh my God, it was just one of the ugliest things I've ever seen from the Warriors. Nobody played well, and they just got absolutely crushed. And they're not even in the same stratosphere, these two teams.
Oh hell no. They're definitely not. And Steve Kerr has been around long enough to know it's like, yeah, my team doesn't have it tonight.
Yeah,
Steph, you're good.
Just sat most of the guys down, and that was it.
Sit down, boys.
A couple of really tough broken hands over the weekend. Scotty Barnes broke his hand, and Russell Westbrook broke his hand as well. Both had surgery on their hands today, and I don't think Scotty's going to play at all the rest of the season. He is the only player in the NBA that was leading all the 5 major categories out of all the teams in the league. He's the only guy. And Westbrook was phenomenal, 6-man coming off the bench, really helping the Clippers do really well. No matter who they had out there, he was able to really help them when their stars were sitting down. And this is a big blow to both teams, but obviously with the Clippers being right up near the top of the Western Conference and expecting to sort of contend for Western Conference title. Hopefully he can come back for the playoffs, but big blow for them right now.
Big blow, because like he was their Energizer Bunny off the bench. Like he was the one that could actually change the composition of a game just from his energy. Yeah. And they're definitely going to miss that. They're definitely going to miss what he brought.
Yeah. I mentioned the Raptors a little bit. Kelly Olynyk just signed a 2-year extension today, $26.25 million. Great to see the Canadian with the Raptors, and the re-upping him for a couple more years. That's fantastic. We'll see what kind of pieces they put around him. A terrible season so far for the Raptors. Complete rebuilding mode, obviously. We'll see what happens in the offseason. hopefully Scotty, with this surgery, the hand heals 100% and he's back doing his fantastic things next year. There was an incredible game by Yusuf Nurkic yesterday. 31 rebounds, the most in an NBA game in 13 years. The last time somebody had 31 rebounds was Kevin Love, November 12th, 2010. He had 31 points, 31 rebounds that night. Nurkic set the Phoenix Suns record. The previous record was held by Tyson Chandler, 27 rebounds. Nurkic has had 22 rebounds twice this year, but 31 was incredible. But he was really, really pissed off at the end of this game. He did not like that the 31 rebounds came in a loss. He said he couldn't believe that not one time he went to the free throw line with all the work he did on the paint, in the paint, and on the boards. He said he had 13 offensive rebounds, 16 shots, and he was fouled a ton, he said, and not one foul was called on him the entire game. Frank Vogel, their coach, ended up flipping out as well, saying that was the most ridiculous officiating. He's going to get a fine for this. He said Kevin Durant was fouled all game. Yusuf Nurkic was fouled all game. They didn't call it. What a joke. And OKC ended up beating the Suns up 118-110.
You know what? Here's the thing I'm going to say about this season. You've heard a lot of this from a number of different coaches. Yeah. The one that was the most glaring that I can remember was Mike Brown, who said his guys were getting fouled. He brought video footage of it to the like. I remember that where I'm like, oh, definitely getting fined. Yeah, right. Definitely showing up the ref. But he brought video footage saying, "That's a foul. That's a foul. Yeah. That's a foul." And like it's like, well, it's clearly fouls. So I'm wondering, is there something going on here with the refereeing? Because some of these games, even I've noticed where I'm like, how's they're not putting away the whistle today? Playoffs already? Yeah. Very cool. Didn't know.
not good, hey? Yeah.
No, it's not good. It's not good. Yeah, you have to have consistency. You have to have consistency.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm pretty shocked at how many coaches and players have been saying how brutal it's been. Yeah, very, very bad. And lots of fines levied, but these guys are just wanting their opinions heard because they're had enough of it.
Well, yeah, and also too, like it's concerning in the realm of gambling too as well. Yeah. Because if you can't depend upon proper officiating from the officials, then that affects betting, and that is not good.
Yeah.
Not good at all.
Good at all. No, not good at all. Very, very bad. Yeah. Players of the week this week, Western Conference, LeBron James, mentioned him. He had over 30 points, 5 rebounds, and 9 assists. Jaylen Brown for the Eastern Conference led the Celtics to the 3-0 record, 28.3 points, 5 rebounds, and 62% field goal percentage. Both guys having phenomenal years. Sticking with basketball, March Madness actually started tonight. For the 4 play-in games, or the 4 play-in teams, 68 is the number. There's 4 teams that go down to make it to 64, so that starts tonight. Can't wait for March Madness. Absolutely phenomenal. Last year was kind of bizarre and crazy. Remember, we were like, what the hell? This is the weirdest March Madness we've ever seen. But always fun. Can't wait for the tournament to kick in fully. And sticking with college basketball, Caitlin Clark became the all-time all-time scoring champion. You predicted it. You were right. She only needed 18 points. She got 35, and now they're calling her Ponytail Pete. She's past Pete Pete Maravich, Pistol Pete, and she has the record now, 3,685 points in a huge win that her team had over number 6 team. Iowa State had over Ohio State. No, sorry, just Iowa over Ohio State. Number 6 over number 2, 93-83. And they look to be battling each other in the Big Ten championship coming up this coming week. And yeah, good on her. She was able to finally do it after, yeah, we were both seeing it happen, and we thought, yeah, she was going to do it. But even with all that pressure, she was able to still make it happen and become the all-time scoring leader in college basketball history.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And this is like one of those rare times in sports history where women's hoops just as big or possibly bigger than men's hoops right now.
Amazing.
And that's gotta be like a rare time in history where this is actually happening.
Yeah.
And I couldn't be happier for the ladies, because that's just going to draw more eyes to the professional ranks, the WNBA, when these ladies come up to the WNBA. And I believe Caitlin Clark, she declared to go, right?
Yeah, she did. Yeah, she made the announcement earlier in the week that she will be declaring for the WNBA draft, and they're expecting her to go number 1 overall. And yeah, it's going to be great to see her in the pros and see if her game translates. I think she's a Steph Curry.
Oh yeah,
she's going to have a phenomenal basketball career. Her quick release reminds me of it. She led the college basketball ranks in scoring and assists. That's absolutely incredible. And everyone knew the ball was going to her at all times. And for her to be able to lead both categories, I think she's going to have a phenomenal career.
I think she's going to have an excellent career, very long career, and a very storied career. And eventually, when it's all said and done, she'll be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
They're guaranteed. Yeah. Couple of sad notes to mention from the world of the NFL. Chris Mortensen, Mort, known by everyone, the ESPN NFL reporter, passed away on the weekend, 76 years old. He died from throat cancer. Absolute legend, Hall of Famer, a guy that's was that insider. You always listen to what he had to say because he knew so much incredible information about the league. I thought, he was just a great guy at delivering the news every weekend for you through the week. And yeah, he'll be very sorely missed.
Yeah, man, I loved his analysis. I loved what he brought to you, like to your viewing as you watch the NFL game and everything else. Like, he was just a pleasure to watch.
Yeah.
And it was just a wealth of knowledge, and he'll be sorely missed.
Yeah. Also, the football world lost a former standout linebacker, Andy Russell. He was on the Pittsburgh Steelers Steel Curtain back in the days when they were winning Super Bowls. He was on the legendary defense for 12 years. He won 2 Super Bowls. He was their captain for 10 years, 7-time Pro Bowler. His teammates voted him the MVP of their team in 1971, which was a season that he had 4 Hall of Famers were on that team. Terry Bradshaw, Mean Joe Green, Mel Blount, and Jack Ham. He was voted their MVP that year, and he passed away on the weekend as well. Yeah, a lot of incredible tributes that I saw, and he was definitely not as known as some of those other names I mentioned, but from all accounts, he was one of those just really, really crucial points of that Steel Curtain defense that was able to get them so much success.
Well, hey, if your peers say that you were the best, then that's all that needs to be said. He may not be well known to the rest of the fans out there, but if your peers give you all the props in the world, that's it. That's who you were.
Yeah. Jason Kelce formally announced his retirement from the NFL today. He took the Dan Campbell speech to literally and really cried almost the entire time that he was talking when he had his retirement speech. You got to watch it. It's insane. He could barely get words out. He chokes up, he cries, he tries a few more words, chokes up and cries and cries and cries and cries. That's probably more than Dan Campbell has ever cried in a speech, and that's saying something. He was very emotional, calling it a career, really had a very long speech and thanked everyone you could imagine. It was great to see a guy that emotional, and he will be a Hall of Famer, no
Oh, yeah.
doubt about it. Definitely one of the best ever. Played with that Eagles team, was able to get himself a Super Bowl or get that team a Super Bowl title. And yeah, you could always tell that he was just such a massive anchor on that offensive line and helped that team have unprecedented success.
He's just an awesome dude. I listened to that New Heights podcast, and I know a little bit about the brothers, but I don't know that much. But I learned more about Jason Kelce than Travis, and the dude's just awesome. Like he
Yeah.
seems like he's the ultimate teammate,
Yeah.
and I'm not surprised to see how emotional he was for his retirement speech and all that sort of stuff. But it's well deserved, man. He should get all the accolades in the world. He's definitely going to be in the Hall of Fame, and he's going to be in one of those rare situations where there's going to be two brothers in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
I don't know how often that's happened, but it's not much. There's not
Pretty
many.
incredible. Yeah.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. Yeah. Amazing. Those two guys, best at their position, and during their whole career. So incredible. Speaking of best at his position, Mike Evans agreed to a 2-year contract extension with Tampa Bay,
Oh,
$52 million for the next 2 years, 35 million guaranteed. He was very instrumental in resurrecting Baker Mayfield's career, and he's had just an incredible run with Tampa. Great to see him probably finish his career with Tampa with this 2-year deal.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised because I thought somebody was going to steal him from Tampa,
Yeah.
but apparently they came up with the money, so nobody could. But oh, good. Well, good for Mike. He deserves the money,
Yeah.
and I was hoping to see him for more than 2 years. I'm hoping that he can
Yeah.
play for a little bit longer than 2 years. I'm going to need Mike to do that for me. So, Mike, a little bit more than 2 years, buddy.
Yeah, I hope so too. Yeah, he doesn't seem to have lost a step. He
No.
tied for the league lead last year with 13 touchdown receptions. He's the only player in NFL history to start his career with 10 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons. He's the Bucks career leader in catches with 762, with yards 11,680, and 94 touchdowns leads the way. The guy is an absolute beast out there, has been phenomenal his entire career, and that's another Hall of Fame guy that when he hangs him up, for sure he's going to Canton.
Oh, yeah. No doubt. No doubt. He's been one of the best for a very, very, very long time.
Yeah. A kind of I don't know. Is this a heartwarming story or a really scary story? But former NFL player Braylon Edwards was at the YMCA in Detroit working out, and he heard some kind of commotion going on the other side of the locker room. When he went over there, some guy, a younger man, was beating up an older man, an 80-year-old man. He was just about to smash his head into the I think it was the counter around the sink, and he had beaten him up quite badly. Mike or Braylon was able to jump in, stop the assault. The police were called. This guy was taken away and arrested. They say that he saved this man's life, and was really quite the hero for stepping in and stopping this guy who sounded like maybe he had roid rage or something crazy, but I don't know why he would beat up this old man so badly. Supposedly the old man had asked him to turn down some music or something that ridiculously minor. and the guy just lost it. And luckily, this was stopped, and the guy was arrested and taken away.
That's, you know what, like sometimes our gym culture is incredibly toxic. It's incredibly toxic. Like, so you're gonna flip out because somebody told you to turn down the music that you shouldn't have anyways in the gym? Really? Well, you know what? That does sound to me like roid rage, because like you shouldn't lose your mind over somebody just telling you, "Hey, do you think you turn that down?" Or put your earbuds in so you can listen to your own music and nobody else has to be forced to listen to your music. That would be awesome. What a thought!
Yeah.
What a thought!
Pretty crazy, yeah.
Idiot.
That story was pretty insane and pretty crazy, but yeah, luckily he was able to interject and save this guy's life. So
That's good.
okay, I talked about the PGA and I talked about Anthony Kim coming out of retirement 12 years after he blew out his Achilles and he was coming. And I said he'd better get some serious money from Liv because he was walking away from the insurance money that he had got for his career ending. Well, this is unbelievable. PGA decided, okay, we can't let Liv have him. We got to get him. So they offered him double. He was able to tee off this week and play with them, and he won the tournament.
No way. Are you kidding me?
He's the most sought after guy. Everybody was like, oh my God. And the PGA is like, hey, forget Liv. I know you just signed a deal, but we're going to pay you double. If you come and play with us, we'll be able to the end. You'll probably be able to win. And, you'll be off and running. And because there's no good people left in the PGA, he was able to kick everybody's ass and win the tournament. And now he's twice as rich as he ever was. And he's like the king of the castle.
That is amazing. What? That's awesome, man. Like knowing that you lost your dream. You lost your dream 12 years ago. And then all of a sudden to have this opportunity, and then not just have the opportunity, but have a bidding war over your services. And you're like, you guys remember, I haven't played in 12 years. Doesn't matter. We don't care. and so he cashes in and he wins on his first inaugural time back onto the golf course. Awesome stuff. Awesome.
Yeah. No, I'm just kidding. No,
come on, man.
No, he played Live Golf this week and he finished dead last. He was so far behind that it was embarrassing. he looked like maybe you out there. And,
no, he did not.
He definitely wasn't playing very good at all. He looked like a guy that's been off for 12 years. And he definitely wasn't in there. Luckily, they've guaranteed him the entire season. They've guaranteed him the money. He didn't do very good. There's no bidding for his services. I'm sorry to say. I just thought I'd be able to pull it off on you for like at least a minute or two. And sorry, Anthony, but this 12-year drought, it was too much. He wasn't very good at all. No, he was not very good.
You're a bad man. You know what? You're a bad person, bad human being. So this is what I'm gonna say now for Mr. Kim. If you can hear my words, you're gonna get there. You're gonna do it. You're gonna prove this guy wrong. That's your mission now, Mr. Kim, to prove Darren wrong.
I hope so. Yeah. I ended up finding this really hilarious article, and it had the longest retirements for athletes who returned, and it has them by the sport.
Okay.
MLB, this guy named Paul Schreiber, he was off for 22 years and 2 days and came back and played. NHL, a guy named Mo Roberts, nearly 18 years, 17 years and 355 days. In the NFL, Frank Walton, almost 10 years, 9 years, 311 days back in the 30s. And then Freddie Lewis in the NBA, 9 years, 210 days in the 60s. He ended up making a comeback and coming back. I don't see any stats for these guys and how well they did. I would think they all finished last, and they they struggled. I don't think they were. There was bidding wars for them. Schreiber played back in the 20s. Roberts played back in the 30s, and then into the 40s. But yeah, 12 years is a little too long, and unfortunately, they didn't show many of his shots, so I can't really tell you. But I heard that he shanked it left, and he shanked it right, and he dribbled some, and he missed a lot, and yeah, he had his struggles, but he's getting his $10 million, so good for him to pull it off and make the comeback.
You know what? He got his money, and he's playing the game that he loves. All right.
Yeah.
So in that respect, he's won. But like, is he going to actually win? It doesn't look good.
No, not so far. No, not so far. The winner of the Live Golf Tournament was Wacko Neiman. He's won 2 out of the 3 tournaments this year. He's actually the hottest player on the planet right now. He ended up winning by 4 shots at 17 under, beat a couple of the South Africans, Louis Oosthuizen and Charles Schwartzel, who both finished 4 shots back. Bryson DeChambeau finished 4th. John Rahm was 5th. The winner got a $4 million check. In the PGA, they played in the Cognizant Classic in Palm Beach, Florida. They had a brutal storm and ended up having to finish today instead of Sunday. The winner was Austin. His name is Austin Eckrat. That was his first PGA Tour win of his career. He cashed a check for $1.6 million. He also finished 17 under, 4 shots better than another South African, Eric Van Rooyen. 5 golfers finished 13 under. Also, that rookie Jake Knapp, who won in Mexico last week, he finished in a tie for 3rd place or 4th place, and he's cashed $2.5 million in checks already. 5 top 5 finishes in his 10 career starts, so off to a good thing. But another PGA tournament where a guy gets his first ever PGA win. So Anthony should have maybe joined the PGA and did what I just said he did, and maybe he wins tournaments, not against the tough guys in Live.
You know what? Now that you've just actually described how he played, I don't think so.
No.
I don't think it would matter where he played. I like you just said, it's like been 12 years. Yeah. I'm rooting for him, though. I'm rooting for him. Hopefully, this is just a stepping stone. It's just a little bit of an obstacle that he should overcome with better play. He's just gonna incrementally get better.
I think he'll do okay at times later on in the season. Yeah, I think we'll see him play pretty good at times. So, one NFL note that I failed to mention: Russell Wilson will be cut this week. They say there'll be $85 million in dead cap money. That's how much they want him to leave. $85 million in dead cap money is insane, and that's how much they want him to get out of there. But I think he's better than like half of the starting quarterbacks in the NFL. So I think there'll be teams lining up to try to have him. I think he's better than Atlanta, your teams. God, I think he's better than what the Steelers have. I think there's many teams that, probably Russell Wilson can go into and have a decent end to his career.
Yeah, and the other thing is, who's Denver going to get? Who are they going to get that can replace him? Like, are they hoping for the draft? Like, I don't understand what their plan is. Like, who are you going to get to replace that guy? Because everybody else that's good is on a team.
Yeah.
Except for maybe Kirk Cousins.
I would think that they're aiming for the draft. Maybe they're looking at doing a trade up with Chicago or something. But they must be looking at the draft because what they have in the cupboard is pretty bare.
Exactly, right? Like it's just like you don't have any of the backups that are good enough. Period. They're
No.
just not good enough. So, all right, well, let's see what they do.
There was another retirement today in the world of sports. Josh Donaldson called it a career today. The third baseman retired. He was the 2015 American League MVP with the Toronto Blue Jays, was able to finally get them back to relevancy and get them into the playoffs. He ended up playing 13 seasons, played with the Brewers, the Yankees, the Twins, Braves, Cleveland, Oakland, and Toronto. Hit 280 home runs, 816 RBIs, and his MVP year, he led the league with 122 runs, 124 runs batted in, 41 homers, hit 300, 939 OPS. Great guy. Loved to hit what he brought to the ballpark, what he brought to the Jays. He was able to get into that hot corner, play third base, be in the middle of that lineup, really finally get the Jays back to the playoffs where they hadn't been in something like 30 years. And yeah, it's sad to see him go, but he sure had a great career.
He had a great career, extreme competitor, and the Blue Jays were lucky to have him for as long as they did.
Yeah, definitely. Speaking of the Jays, they're in a little bit of trouble right now. They lost two of their starters. Both of them have some shoulder soreness and are missing some starts. They will hopefully get better as the spring continues on, and they will be able to start the season. If not, two starters down will really hurt them starting the season. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. hit his first home run of the spring today, opened up the scoring against the Phillies. And man, it was a shot. Holy cow, center field. And it was far, far, far gone. Hopefully he can launch a bunch of balls like that all season long and has a bounce back year after pretty down year last year.
Yeah, hey man, he's showing that Guerrero power already. So yes, I think he's going to have a much better year this year.
There was a huge signing extension for the Philadelphia Phillies today. Zach Wheeler, the pitcher, signed a 3-year, $126 million extension, which will start in 2025. His $42 million salary is the most lucrative extension in baseball history, and he will just slot a little bit behind the top two pitchers who make $43.3 million. That's Max Scherzer and Justin Verlander, who the Mets backed up the Brinks truck to and paid and then traded away last year. The Phillies owner really kind of daggered himself, though. Somebody asked him earlier in the offseason, do you think Zach Wheeler might get traded? You might have to get rid of him because he's going to ask for too much. He said, I wouldn't trade Zach Wheeler for Babe Ruth and Ted Williams in their prime. He's staying. We're keeping him. He can ask for as much money as he wants. We're backing up the truck to give him it all. And his agent just immediately went, woo, let's party. And he got some serious money today.
Yeah. Well, as soon as you say that, you admit to the fact it's like, well, he's not going anywhere. He can't because I'm just going to pay him what he wants. Yeah. So then the agent just goes, I want this done. Oh, well, that was easy. Thank you.
That was it. Bam. Easy peasy. Yeah. Speaking of Blue Jays third baseman, they just lost their third baseman. Matt Chapman signed a 3-year, $54 million deal with the San Francisco Giants. He will be missed. I really loved him at the hot corner. He came in after Donaldson, was able to be that piece. Had a bit of a down year last year, but is now pretty damn rich playing with the Giants. And his agent, Scott Boras, has all the top guys. This is the best agent in baseball. He was able to get a massive deal for his other client, Cody Bellinger, last week with the Cubs. And now he has the other top two most wanted free agents on the board. He's working with pitchers Blake Snell and Jordan Montgomery. This guy has signed like billions and billions and billions of dollars worth of contracts. And I expect we're going to hear some huge numbers coming out from these guys later on in the next week or two.
I wonder if the GMs are just like, oh, great, Boris. Awesome. So do we have enough money?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Like,
Yeah, it's amazing that how much of the top guys he works with. It's absolutely incredible. We actually, unfortunately, lost a former MLB player as well this weekend, Ed Ott, the former catcher for the Pittsburgh Pirates. He was able to help them win the World Series back in '79. He was part of that We Are Family, that great Pittsburgh Pirate teams. They had Willie Stargell, Dave Parker. They had Bert Blyleven, Kent Colby, Rick Rhoden, Dave Roberts, legendary players. He played 7 of his 8 seasons in the majors in Pittsburgh and passed away on Sunday. He was 72 years old.
Wow. Hey, great player. Was a treasure to his teammates, and obviously it sucks that he's gone too early. 72 is it's old, but it's not old enough. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, we lost quite a few sports stars this past weekend. So I guess haven't needed a bunch of guys to play some sports up there. Talk about sports, hang out. All of them headed up this weekend. Okay, now we're on to the UFC Fight Night 238, UFC Vegas 87. This was supposed to take place in Saudi Arabia and was changed, put back at the stinking no good, lousy Apex. And you know why it was changed?
Well, I think I remember why. I think the Saudis said, not good enough. Get this garbage out of here. Thanks. Yeah. And as I watched it, you know what? They were right.
Yeah. Unfortunately, definitely not the best card I've seen. There were some great moments in this card. There was a few things that I loved about it, but it just for the first time you're going into a country that's willing to spend huge bucks, you should deliver a really amazing card like this $299 one that's happening this Saturday. That should have been the one going there. This could have stayed at the Apex and been whatever fight night. I like some of these elements of this card, but for the first time you're ever going to a country that's willing to, spend a lot of money and attract you. Look what they're doing in the sports world by and large. Look what they're doing in the boxing world. And you're trying to put this card that was really didn't look good on paper, in my opinion, either. And so a lot of guys were asked, what did you think about you're almost in Saudi Arabia first time, and now you're back at the Apex, and everyone was like, yeah, that sucked. That was pretty crappy, that lousy. But I'm glad that they said no. Hey, this isn't good enough. And I guess in June they're gonna remake it, and hopefully it'll be a really, really talented card.
Well, it should be, because you know what, like you just said, we're willing to put like a lot of money forward, and this is your first time in our country. So put your best foot forward. And for the powers that be that represent Saudi Arabia, they're just like, that's garbage, and no, we don't want it. Sorry. Try better. Try a lot better, probably. That was probably the message to the UFC.
Yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad that they said no, not good enough, and others should say that too, and we should say not good enough. We don't want the Apex anymore. Just get some better cards and put them all over the place, all over the world. Lots of cities saying, "Come on, come, we want you." So just start putting it all over. Okay, as we usually do, we'll start with the main event. This was Jairzinho Rosenstrike, who was on a bit of a tough go in the last little while, losing 3 out of his last 4 and 4 of his last 6. He was the underdog in this one. The only ranked fighter out of the two, but Shamil Gaziev from Dagestan, actually representing Bahrain as well, comes in very hyped up, undefeated, and the favorite according to Vegas in this one. But they didn't really take into account that he was going to gas out. He was definitely not conditioned for a 3, 4, 5 round fight. And once he wasn't able to land his big bombs, Rosenstrike was able to use some movement and some good jabs and was able to tire him out, and then eventually ended up beating him to the point where, he basically said, that's it. I can't see. I'm done. And they had to call the fight off. But if he was going to go back out there, he was just going to take a severe beating, in my opinion. And it was right that they decided to call it.
No mas.
Yeah.
No mas. That's what it kind of reminded me of. I give credit to who's the ref?
Mark Goddard.
Mark Goddard did an excellent job, because it was like his corner was trying to hide the fact that he didn't want to fight anymore.
Right.
And Goddard's like, hey, you over there, translator, what'd they say? What did they say? Like, I love the fact that he was on it, because he was just like, okay, if the fighter is yelling at his corner and they're yelling at each other, that's not normal. Yeah. Right? Mm-hmm. And so I love the fact that he stepped in, he figured it out and said, fight's done, right?
I thought he handled it. I thought he handled it better than I've seen almost any ref handle something like that. And I pointed out while he was talking, because you don't usually see a fighter talk that much back and forth to his corner. He'll usually acknowledge them, what the instructions they're giving him, but he just kept saying, talking. And I didn't feel like the translator that was coming over our broadcast was actually translating everything. And it just didn't seem like I was getting what he was saying. And I was like, I wonder what he's talking about. What is he saying so strongly there? And so, good on Goddard to notice, and then good on him to say, hey, I need to know what's been said here. Because if he's saying something's wrong or I can't continue, we shouldn't be pushing him back out there. And, I don't know. I really would love to know translated exactly what he said and what his corner said back to him. Because if his corner's, and he said, I'm done, I can't fight anymore, and his corner just walked away and said, no, you're in there, that's not good. And that's something that should be looked upon and investigated. But in the end, I guess, it was the right decision and just, but it's weird when, it's English as a second language. You have to rely on translation. And, it was a very strange ending, really, in the end.
It was super strange. And also, too, if there's that much of a conflict in the corner with the fighter and coach, maybe fighter needs to find a different coach.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, maybe that actually needs to happen, because if you're adamant about like how badly, and I believe it was his eye he was complaining about, how badly your eye is actually damaged, and your coach is blowing it off like it's nothing. And we've seen other former fighters where it's like, I lost sight in that eye. That's life-changing stuff.
Yeah.
It's life-changing.
Yeah.
So if you blow that off like it's nothing, maybe you don't deserve to be that guy's coach or cornerman anymore.
No, yeah. It was really too bad, because he was going to be, a guy that was representing Bahrain in Saudi Arabia, and he was, going to be looked at as one of these top guys that has an opportunity to rise up the ranks and coming in undefeated, and you don't want to risk a guy's eyesight for life if something's severely wrong there and it gets worse, and you're facing Biggie Boy, who is just gonna smash you with some super powerful shots. So I'm glad nothing really bad happened. It's funny that we talk about this eye issue. In a few minutes, I want to talk about the MVP promotions. Jake Paul had a fight in Puerto Rico over the weekend, and the main event had to get canceled because of an eye problem, and it was pretty severe. But Gino Carano had an eye issue, and they had to cancel the main event just minutes before it was actually supposed to take place. And I'll get into a few more of the details in a few minutes once we go through this breakdown. But so where does Biggie Boy go from here? He said he wants to fight in July, August. Number 12, still being able to be one of those, top 10 guys, I think. It was great that he was able to show a guy that there's levels to this game, and he'd only come in very, very minimal experience, really, I thought, and to be so highly touted. I think people weren't a little bit snowed by the hype train.
Yeah, man. I think the hype train really ran away with this guy, because from what I saw, I'm like, oh man, you can't even fight 3 rounds. You know what I mean? Like, and then also too, Rosenstrike, obviously his takedown defense has gotten better.
Yeah,
but it's not to an absolute level. And he was able to stuff that guy numerous times, where I'm just like, I don't see what the hype is anymore. No. I'm sorry. I didn't see it. And also too, his aggression when he was beginning to plod forward. After a couple of rounds, he didn't throw any more punches. No. He just kept walking forward.
Yeah.
That does nothing. All it does is, I'll just keep punching in the face.
Give him a target. Yeah. Exactly. Massive head to hit. Here you go.
It's a massive head. That dude got a big ass head. Yeah. Big.
And his takedowns were terribly, they weren't set up. They weren't, there was nothing to them. They were easy to stuff. And Rosenstrike isn't elite at that. If he goes up against anybody that's, very capable of that, he's not taking him down for sure. So, this guy was unfortunately, I think they put him on the hype train too quickly, and he wasn't quite ready for the spotlight and the top billing of this card. So, let's talk about the co-main event. We also had an undefeated fighter in Vitor Petrino from Brazil facing Tyson Pedro from Australia, Sydney, Australia. Man, this Petrino, he is a specimen. He is incredibly great shape, and to me, he won this fight quite handily. I thought it was, it seemed pretty easy. Pedro was a game fighter, but Petrino's much better at this point in his career.
Yeah, much better, younger, more powerful. How about this? His body was the complete opposite of Gaziv's.
Yeah,
complete opposite. And he's scary big. He's freakishly big for that weight division, and he was dominant. Yeah, he was dominant. Every time he hit Pedro, you could tell that the impact of his strikes were way more impactful than Pedro's, and he was just in control of this fight the entire time.
And Tyson Pedro retired after this fight. I don't know if that was in his mind going in, win or lose, or just if I lose, or if I don't put on a performance. I'm not sure where his mindset was, but I was quite surprised that a guy that's only had 15 fights as a pro, that he's walking away from the sport.
Yeah, again, especially when it's like that few fights. Yeah, maybe there's an issue. You never know, right? Like, you never know what's going on with the fighter, or it's just like, you know what, I've been hitting the head a little too much, and then some things are not quite right there, and then it's actually getting worse. You never know.
Never know.
But at the end of the day, though,
he missed 3 years of his prime career with injuries. So maybe those also factored in a ton with this, and we'll see. Vitor called out Anthony Smith. I'm not sure if that's something that the UFC would do already. Anthony's ranked fighter, and Vitor's coming in. I don't see where his ranking will be after this, but this guy, if he continues on this path, I see some great things for him in his future.
Oh yeah, definitely. I see great things for him. I think cool call out, not going to happen. I think they're just going to level him up progressively.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was some really good flyweights on this card. We had number 7 against number 8, Alex Perez, the American against Mohamed Makayev, the English fighter. Makayev, also an undefeated fighter, coming in at number 8. Heavily favored in this one, and they were right in many regards. I thought he was phenomenal. Just a much busier fighter. I couldn't believe how many takedowns that he went for. I believe he actually went for about 20 takedowns, secured, I think, 4, but he was just much busier, relentless on the takedowns, and was able to grind out a 29-28 on all 3 scorecards. I kind of thought that he did win all 3 rounds, but they gave the second round to Perez, it looks like. But even though he was very, very sick in the morning, he said he was able to grind out a great win, and will keep rising up the ranks. I guess they'll probably flip-flop 7 and 8 ranking positions here.
Yeah, and you know what, Mokaev, he outstruck Perez too as well in this fight, and like a dog on a bone, he kept going back to the well because that's what he's best at. But on the other hand, very impressed with Perez's takedown defense.
Yeah,
because he had to consistently defend against him that entire fight, and for the most part, he did.
Yeah,
so good on him for that.
Yeah, unbelievable to have to endure like 20 takedown attempts and only land on your back about 3 or 4 times. That was it. So pretty great. There's a lot of talk that Mokaev might be the next in line to face Pantoja, the champion. He called him out and asked for it. May the 4th in Rio, in Brazil, UFC 301. Maybe, not sure. We'll see what happens, but yeah, I could see it happening. I really actually could.
I guess so. I could see it happening, but couldn't there be somebody else besides him that fights? Like, you know what I mean? Like, he is just okay, well, I'll give him this. He is just number 7.
Yeah.
And yes, he is unbeaten, but it's still number 7. You know what I mean?
Right.
So hey, if it happens, good for Mokaev. Great, awesome. I don't know if he has the skill set to beat Pantoja at this point in time.
True. That's true. Very true. Okay, let's talk about the Umar Nurmagomedov Baksat Almakan fight. Umar was phenomenal as usual. Another undefeated fighter, Dagestani, just really incredible takedowns, just smashed him. The ground strikes at some point near the end, 145 left in the 3rd round. The graphic came up, 120-2 the ground strikes were. That's how badly it was. The scoring was 30-26 on 2 cards and 30-25 on 1 card. So yeah, this was definitely a one-sided beatdown for Umar.
Utter domination. Beat him on the feet. Beat him in the grappling. Here's what Almakan did well. He survived that fight.
Yeah.
That's what he did. He survived that fight where many other fighters would have been put out, would have lost.
Yeah.
But like, he survived it. And so that's what impressed me the most, because Umar is one of the best. There's a reason why he has a hard time trying to find fights. Nobody wants to fight that guy.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to fight him.
No kidding. Yeah. That's 4 wins in a row for him. That's 4th place on the longest active win streaks in the bantamweight division. Merab has the most with 9 wins in a row. Mario Batista has 6, and he's tied with 4 with Emir Zahabi and Montel Jackson, 4 each. He said he got a hand injury in there, so we'll see how severe this is. He called out Corey Sandhagen, which might be Yeah, it would be fantastic. I think maybe a little bit too far up the rankings to have that happen, but we'll see what they say.
Yeah, you know what? It is too far up the rankings, but I have a sneaking suspicion he's ready for that fight.
Yeah.
I think he's ready for that fight. So
Yeah.
I don't know if Corey would take it though, because it has no benefit for him, right? So
that's true, yeah. The strikes ended up in the end being 146 to 5. 5 for 5 on his takedowns. Significant strikes were 69 to 3. So yeah, just one of the most one-sided dominating performances from another Nurmagomedov. And yeah, we'll see. Definitely see much more of him as he rises up the ranks. One of the performance of the nights was the first fight on the main card. Steve Erceg getting the knockout early on into the second round over Matt Schnell. This was his third UFC win in a row, and he will move into the top 10 now in the rankings. Schnell was number 1. Erceg was number 12. Should be able to move back into the top 10 and be one of those guys. Yeah, maybe we see him fighting Perez next, something like that. And yeah, great performance from Erceg, and he got a $50K bonus for that.
Yeah, and he deserved it, man. Because the only time that Schnell actually had any success in this fight is when he made the fight dirty. But when they had distance, Erceg just sharpshooted him, sniped him all the time.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with Erceg. If you give that guy distance, he'll snipe you for the entirety of the fight until he puts you out. And I loved it in the round 2 when he hit him with that left and he just walked away because he's just like, oh yeah, you're done. You're done.
That was it. Yeah.
That was it.
Walk off.
He didn't even try to go and ground and pound. He was just like, yeah. Okay.
Next. Yeah, it was great.
That was good.
It was amazing. Okay, I kind of just want to get into the fight of the night, which was the bantamweight battle between Vinicius Oliveira and Bernardo Sopoj. This was both got 100, both got 50K. They spent 100K with this. An incredible knockout with the flying knee late in the third round. One of the highlights of the year. Absolutely spectacular KO. It was pretty incredible for this fight. Both guys making their UFC debuts and yeah, both getting the 50K extra. Even though you got knocked out, you still had performance of the night. Pretty wild.
Oh no, these young guys are good.
Yeah, really good.
And the only difference that I saw was that Oliveira's will was greater than Sopaj's.
Yeah.
And then that's what ended up carrying the day for him. And the fact that he kept hammering that calf, and when he limped away and tried to recollect himself, and then he looked and went, oh, it's too late, because the jumping knee was already coming for his face. Yeah. I felt bad for the young man because of the way that Bisping reacted after it, where he was just like, oh, because like I could almost hear the cringe in Bisping's voice because he's like, that's a bad knockout. That's a bad one. Because what Bisping said was very true, which is, and there's some knockouts that are worse than others. Because that could change the trajectory of his career. Because we don't know how he's going to recover from said knockout, because he was down for quite some time before he got it again. So
it's gonna take a while, and hopefully they keep him out for a while. Yeah, that was a tough one. Yeah, he sort of just went right into it, and yeah, it was tough to watch. Okay, our Canadian Aman Zahabi, who ended up getting a victory. He was definitely the prohibited underdog, and he was able to get the decision win over David Basharant. Very impressive. I'm happy that Aman was able to get it done.
Yeah, against the undefeated guy, and he was by far the underdog. Yeah. But for us, his brother, genius,
Yeah.
mad scientist in there is like, I know how to beat him. And he sure did. So I give Amen a lot of props for that. Like he stayed in the pocket with Basharat. He was undeterred. He put his combos together. He was great at his counters. Yeah, man. And Basharat is a tough guy to beat. Period.
Yeah.
Tough, man. And yeah, so Hobby got him. So, and I think that's his fourth consecutive win in a row. So hopefully he's busier this year, because I'd like to see him fight a little bit more than what he actually does.
That's true. Yeah, good point. Okay. Christian Leroy Duncan looked as good as ever. Very nice TKO against a tough, hard-hitting Brazilian and Claudio Ribeiro. Nice victory there.
Yep, beautiful victory by Duncan. Especially when he got him down and then just ground and pound finish with just vicious, vicious elbows. He elbowed the hell out of him.
True, yeah. Ludovic Klein made very quick work of the debut in AJ Cunningham. Just a brutal front kick to the body that just took him down and knocked him out. That was pretty surprising.
Yeah, well, Cunningham showed his toughness, and Klein was just like, I keep hitting this guy in the head and nothing's happening. So I'm going to go to the body. And that's where he got him down finally and out of there, because Cunningham was super tough and he was taking his shots. And so I love the fact that Klein adjusted his attack and started going to the body and then finally put him out with a body shot.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Awesome. Yeah. And do you want to talk about the first fight of the night? Did you see that one? Did you have some notes on that one?
Yes, I did. Like it was a little bit back and forth for sure. I thought it was pretty impressive with the way that Radzhabov was eventually began to start cutting off the octagon, cutting off El Sawadi's his the way that he could escape either laterally, left or right. But El Sawadi did hurt Radzhabov with a right at the end of round 2. So he had him in trouble.
Yeah.
But not in enough trouble that Radzhabov couldn't recover, and he did. And eventually got the ground and pound finish in round 3. But so El Sawadi was game. He was game.
I thought that was a huge comeback from Radzhabov. Yeah, I thought El Sawadi was winning that fight until that third round, and then he ended up getting a great KO win. So yeah, good on him. It was a hell of a nice way to start the card, I thought.
Yeah, it was great start, because it looked like Radzhabov was just gonna blow the guy out, and then all of a sudden El Sawadi landed that shot, and I'm just like, oh, okay, this is a fight now.
Yeah, it turned out to be a good fight.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that card is over. We've got UFC 299 coming up this weekend. Do we talk about 299 first, or do we talk about this MVP Promotions Jake Paul thing? Do you want to do the preview of UFC 299 quick?
Yeah, 299 first.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, we've got a championship fight that is the main event. Sugar Sean O'Malley, the champion of the bantamweight division, only has one loss out of his 19 fights, 17 1-0 with 1 no contest. The one loss is to his opponent this weekend, Marlon Chito Vera. Chito is only ranked number 5, but it's getting this opportunity because he is the only guy that's being able to beat Sugar Sean. And he beat Sugar Sean with brutal calf kick that just rendered O'Malley's leg no good. Couldn't stand on it. Wasn't able to continue. He dropped onto the ground. Chito came down and landed a bunch of really brutal elbows and took him out and sort of derailed the Sugar show that you thought, okay, maybe Sean's got this hype behind him. Maybe he's not as good. O'Malley has went on a meteoric rise ever since. 5 wins out of 6 fights, 1 no contest. and got the belt. Beat Aljamain Sterling, much to everyone's surprise. Well, not everyone's surprise, but quite a few of us. And now he's trying to avenge his only loss. And this should be a hell of a fight. I'm actually really, really pumped for it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. But here's the thing that O'Malley is definitely going to do a little bit different than last time when he fought Vera. He's going to check them kicks.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that much. He's going to check them kicks, or the same thing's going to happen to him again. And what Vera needs to do to win this fight is not give away early rounds.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure his coaches have drilled that into him.
I hope so.
In this camp.
Yeah.
Start fast, start early, finish hard. You know what I mean? Like, because he's a slow starter. He's traditionally a slow starter, and that's what loses him fights.
He annoys me how slow he starts. It's usually 2 rounds. First 2 rounds, he takes off, sort of plays the feeling out game, doesn't put much pressure on, doesn't do a lot, and then he has to win the next 3 or get a knockout late to win the fight. And I sure hope he doesn't rely on that kind of style again. And hopefully he's learned his lesson. And this is going to be not a good outcome for him if he doesn't start fast.
No, he's going to lose the fight. If he doesn't start right away, he's going to lose this fight.
Yeah. Were you surprised that Sean beat Aljamain Sterling?
Yes, I was very surprised. I thought Aljamain's wrestling would win the day, but he had to get to his legs first. He wasn't able to get there.
Yeah,
because Don put his lights out before he could.
Yeah. Done. What do you see? What would be your prediction on this fight? What do you think is going to happen, and how is it going to end?
Man, you know what? Going out on a limb here. I'm going with Chito Vera. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking he's actually going to figure it out. He's going to win those early rounds, which will lead him to win the fight.
Wow. Okay. That's awesome. Well, let's hope. That'd be incredible. I am blown away by O'Malley, what he's done. Out of the last 6 fights, that only fight that he hasn't won was Pedro Munoz eye poke, where he was rendered, he couldn't continue. He's been able to get 5 bonuses in all those 5 wins. And as I said, won the title against Aljo. They both fought on that card the last time, so they both have the same amount of activity, and it should be a hell of a battle. And not often a guy ranked number 5 gets the chance at the champ, but when you've beaten the champ and being the only guy to beat the champ, you get this chance. And I hope it's as good as I expect it to be.
I think it's going to be a barn burner. I think it's going to be a great fight. I think both men come to bang. I think it's going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one.
I am really looking forward to the co-main as well. This is a 5-round fight. Not often co-mains are 5 rounds, but this is 5 rounds. This was originally supposed to start off the card of 300, off the main card, and they decided to pull it back and put it a week earlier, or a month earlier, sorry. And so they'll have 5 rounds to it. I don't know if they'll need it, but this is another one of those weird ones where Poirier's number 3 against Saint-Denis, who's number 12, but Saint-Denis is on this 5-fight win streak and has looked incredible doing so. Poirier has lost his last fight, 2 out of his last 3, and so a little bit of a setback from the Diamond, one of the best fighters of his generation. We'll see how the God of War faces off against the Diamond and see what happens. I'm pretty stoked for this one too.
It's going to be a war. It's going to be an absolute war. I'm looking forward to it. I don't think they're going to need all 5 rounds. That's my prediction.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to need all 5 rounds.
Yeah, I think you're right. Probably not. It should be over pretty early on. The other fight that's coming up, just before this is the welterweight battle between Kevin Holland against Michael Venom Page. Page, long-time fighter in Bellator. Finally, when Bellator gets sold to PFL, he's decided to make the jump into the UFC. And man, he's been a hell of a fighter for a long, long time. Fighting a really incredible fighter right away. And these guys are going to bring it. It's going to be a war too.
I think this is going to be the most entertaining fight on the card.
Yeah.
I think by far and away the most entertaining fight because they have the same body structure, long, lanky, with power. Yeah. And I think it's just going to be an incredibly awesome fight to watch.
I love the matchmaking on this card. I think they did such a phenomenal job with so many the matches, and yeah, it's great. I'm looking forward to seeing Gilbert Burns fight. Love always his fights. Peter Yan on a bit of a slide in his career lately. He's got to have a good performance against Son Yadong here to start off the main card.
Yeah, man. Gilbert Burns and Jack Della Maddalena. That's a great fight. That's going to be also another barn burner. Like, all of these fights on this main card are awesome fights.
Yeah.
Nailed it. Nailed it. And then Peter Yan, well, he better be ready to bring it because Son Yadong has the power to knock him out.
Yeah.
To put his lights out. So he better be ready with all of that.
Yeah. The feature fight on the prelims has Curtis Blades against Gelton Almeida. Almeida has looked phenomenal. This is another physical specimen. But Blades is one of the best takedown artists in heavyweight history. And this should be a great battle. I think these two guys are two of the top heavyweights of all time. And one of them is probably getting knocked out.
And also, too, I think this could be a grappling masterpiece between two of the best grapplers in the heavyweight division.
Yeah.
So this could be awesome to see. Like, I'm looking forward to seeing the reverses and the scrambles and everything else between two very capable heavyweights. So I'm very much looking forward to this fight.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. Former champion Rafael Dos Anjos is the biggest underdog on the entire card against Mateus Gamrot. I'm surprised that he is the biggest underdog, but RDA has been around for a really long time. Gamrot is super tough, and I'm not sure if RDA still has it, but I guess this is a big test for him here.
Yeah, and I think that's why he's such an underdog, because they're looking at the age and the fact that Gamrot's as good as he is. I think this will show us where RDA is and if he's actually getting kind of close to retirement.
Yeah. Maybe, yeah. And then, yeah, even on the early prelims, we've got heck of lots of incredible battles. I'm blown away by this card. They really, really, really stacked it. And yeah, I plan to watch every single fight from top to bottom for sure on Saturday.
I'm going to try to watch as many as I can. I'm going to try to watch as many as I can because this is a great card. It's fantastic.
It's really great. We've got some boxing news. This Friday, we've got Francis Ngannou, Anthony Joshua, and that starts at 7 a.m. Pacific. So I might be getting a sore throat on Thursday, and I might have to be home on Friday, but they don't care about pay-per-view in Saudi Arabia, so they've put it on at 7 a.m. in the morning, so it's a good time for them over there. And that's too bad for a lot of people here in North America that really want to see it and have to work that day. But this should be awesome to watch. I hope I can watch it and not know the outcome if I do work that day. But I think Francis, with his amazing battle against Tyson Fury, I think it's given him all the confidence he needs and the great, nice training camp going into this one. I think this should be one of the best boxing heavyweight fights we ever see. And yeah, I can't wait.
I think it's going to be great. I hope Anthony Joshua is not taking this for granted, because you know what happened when Tyson did? He almost got beat.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure Anthony Joshua is going to take this one very seriously. And also, too, the Saudis shouldn't care about pay-per-view. It's like, we got more money than God. Like, we actually do have more money than that guy. So we don't care. But, and also, too, these guys are getting well compensated. I believe Ngannou's definitely making 10 million or more indefinite. So it's like, oh, yeah, man. I'm just so happy for Ngannou that he got accomplished what he wanted to get accomplished, and he's showing everybody, he's like, no, I got skills everywhere. I got
I
skills.
love it. Yeah, making great money. I love it. He bet on himself and won the bets, that's for sure. So,
yeah.
And the other boxing news, I mentioned it a little earlier off the top. MVP Promotions, Jake Paul and his cronies all put together a fight in Puerto Rico over the weekend. Gina Carano was able or was scheduled to be in the main event, and she ended up getting her hair done on, I believe, Thursday night. She went running on Friday, and when she sweat, some of the hair product got into her eye, burned her cornea, and she was having so much trouble seeing. The doctors would not allow her to fight and had to cancel the main event. The promoter went into the cage or into the ring, sorry, and said, "We are so sorry. We have to cancel the main event. The doctor has said that Gina cannot fight with her eye. She can't see. And we will be 100% refunding everybody's ticket, everybody's money that they put into the ticket, 100% refund for everybody in the entire arena," which they did not have to do. The rest of the entire card had played out, just not the main event. They said, no, that's it. Gina came in. There was a lot. Gina came in to grab the microphone and say sorry and tell everyone how gutted she was about it. There was some initial boos early on right away, but I think it was classy that she, decided to face the music and say that, honestly, I want to fight, but the doctors won't allow it. And it was a really strange ending to, quite the card. And it was really too bad. She really wanted to fight in Puerto Rico, which ends up being her family's home country and home area. And it just was strange how it ended up not being able to have it happen at all.
My question is this: what the hell did they put in her hair? Like, seriously, what the heck did they put in their hair? Usually, from what I know, for women boxers and stuff, they just braid up their hair, no product, go fight. Because this is not where you look pretty. You know what I mean? You're gonna go fight somebody.
Yeah.
So you braid up the hair, it's good to go, no product, go for it. So my question is, whoever was dealing with her hair screwed up immensely.
Yeah.
What are you doing putting product in her hair in the first place?
Brutal, huh?
Yeah. That's a mistake.
Tough.
That should never happen. As far as I'm concerned, never happened, man. Never happened.
Yeah, that was scary. Unbelievable. Imagine, you go get your hair done and you're all of a sudden you can't see, your cornea gets burnt, from the product. Very brutal and scary, and hopefully that's lesson learned. They never do something like that again. 1.5 million was the gate that they handed all the money back. It wasn't pay-per-view, so they didn't get any pay-per-view money. I don't know. They must have got a lot of good sponsors, but Jake Paul ended up getting a knockout victory himself. And there was, a few decent fights on the card, but strange the way this went down.
That sucks that it went down like that. Good on them, so to give everybody's money back. So that means that they got a good reputation now amongst the fans.
Yeah. One last thing. PFL starts their European regular season on Thursday. They will have a card out of France coming up this Thursday. So I'll be able to watch some of this and give a bit of a breakdown. Regular season here in North America doesn't start till April, but yeah, there should be some great battles, and PFL's got very interesting things coming. They've got all these regional leagues, a lot of fights coming all over the world, and the North American regular season. Some of the super fights in Ngannou's going to be fighting soon, and yeah, lots coming. So I'm excited to see some combat sports. There'll be fights on Thursday, fights on Friday, fights on Saturday. Great week for the combat world.
Yeah, fights all week. It's going to be fun. It's going to be great. I'm looking forward to seeing some of those fights as
well. Okay, man. Well, thanks for doing such long duty tonight. I can't believe it. You were up at 3:30 crack of, I don't think they call you a crack of dawn. I don't know, crack of the middle of the night, and
right. Yeah.
having to work. But thanks so much. Awesome and fun as always. And have a great week ahead. Are you scheduled to work all week? Do you have your work schedule figured out?
It looks like possibly. It looks like I definitely got tomorrow off, so I'm good in that respect. But I think maybe Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We'll see how that goes. I think definitely Wednesday, Thursday. So, anyways, yeah.
Yeah, cool. Well, if you're off Friday, you'll be able to get to see Ngannou fight live.
Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see. Yeah.
Okay, man. Cheers. Have a great night. Enjoy your day off tomorrow, and we'll talk soon.
All right. You betcha. You take it easy. Have a great night.
Thanks, man. Okay. Bye for now. All right. Wow. Yeah, it's been looking like 2.5 hours. Yeah. That we covered a lot of stuff. Had a lot of fun. Thanks for tuning in as always. Thank you to our partners and sponsors. I want to thank Anchor.fm, easiest place to make a podcast. Phenomenal at posting on multiple podcast platforms for us. Verbero, the hockey equipment and apparel company, industry leader in technology, performance, and value. 350 stick, V350 stick is a must-have. Pampas and Possibilities, they just do beautiful things for your home. Really spruce it up with the West Coast themes and make it look pretty. And Forever Living, the aloe vera company for health and beauty products. We love them. You can get them on our website. Cheap, really good pricing, and discounted rates. So do so. Love you guys lots. Have a fantastic week, and we will keep in touch. Talk soon. Bye for now.